Yes, my dear friend, welcome back to the channel. It is a beautiful Tuesday morning here in Southeast Asia, Malaysia to be precise. Wherever you are around the globe, you are highly welcome. This is Salon's blog, and this morning's special edition is going to be news items for you, exclusively for you. Stay glued to your set. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be quite long, about 20 minutes. But please make sure you watch to the end, because there's so much to talk about. There's so much I want to discuss with you this morning. Yes, from the players to the boardroom to the directors to the ownership to the coach. So much to talk about. So don't go anywhere. And if it's your first time, kindly like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. If it's your new, if you are first here, subscribe. Subscribe so that you'll be updated on any subsequent exclusives. And once you subscribe, remember to on that notification bell. It's very important, right? Let me hear from you in the comment section as well. I mean, as you share the video, I'll be grateful you continue to share the video and you comment on our videos. I'll be very much grateful. Thank you, my dear friend in Africa, my dear friends in Europe, America, Canada, and even here in Asia. I am grateful you are part of this channel. Once again, this is Salon's blog. Quickly, we start with a report from an ESPN senior writer, Mark Oden. ESPN senior sports writer Mark Oden has something to say. Looking at the situation with Chelsea right now, he discovered something new and he wants to share with us. And this is what he said. He said Pochettino has probably got another season, or at least the start of next season. He only has a year left on his contract, so the compensation will not cost a lot. That is if he should start next year. The compensation for him to be sacked, if he's to be sacked, the compensation will not cost so much. But Chelsea have posted big losses in an era where clubs need to keep losses small. They cannot afford to pay him off. So this has been part of the reasons why our owners are still thinking, should we sack Poch? Should we maintain him? Should we sack him? Should we maintain him? And there's another issue. I will come back. I will get to that after now. They need to bring money in and are talking about selling homegrown players like Conor Gallagher, Trevor Chalobah, and even Reece James, because that will be a pure profit, according to BBC Radio 5 Live Football Daily Podcast. Dear friend, so you see some of the reasons why when we are saying Poch out, it's not so easy for the owners. It's not so easy for the owners. They are also looking at how to balance their books. Yes, they are looking at how to balance their books. Now, right now, before I continue, I want to show you something. I'll be doing a podcast today, and I would like you to watch out for that podcast. Yes, my next video will be a podcast. That'll be long, like 1 hour. Watch out for that, because there's so much we need to talk about. All right? Okay. Look at this. Look at this now. You see, when we are talking about Poch out, some of us, we are not getting this right. I have heard there are few people who are involved or who were involved in the process of hiring a manager and recruitment who are trying to distance themselves from the Pochettino appointment. They are trying to distance themselves. There are few people in the boardroom that are trying to distance themselves from the appointment of Pochettino. That in the first place, they were not in favor of him. There are few people in the boardroom. Meaning that they are trying to be like, hey, I wasn't involved. It wasn't my idea. Few people in the boardroom are now beginning to distance themselves from Pochettino. So this proves that few months ago we heard the board is divided on whether to sack Pochettino or not. We heard it few months ago. Now we are beginning to get every information clearer. Well, in that case, dear friend, there is a question I also have in mind. These owners, when they came in newly, they spent close to 300 million pounds in signing new players for Thomas Tuchel. Yes. They spent close to 300 million to sign players like Fofana, for Thomas Tuchel, right? Now, if after spending that amount of money to sign those players for Thomas Tuchel, after a few weeks, you sacked him, then you brought in Graham Potter, and you gave Graham Potter 5 years contract. Not 2 years, not 3 years, but 5 years contract. I want to ask, at what point did the project Chelsea started? Is it when they took over the club from Roman Abramovich during Thomas Tuchel era? And they bought players that suit him. They bought players for Thomas Tuchel that suit his style of play. And then a few weeks after they sacked him, they brought in Graham Potter for 5 years. Is it at that point that they began to think of a Project Chelsea, or Project Chelsea, they started it from the onset with Thomas Tuchel? Because this whole idea of Project Chelsea is getting on my nerves. At what point have they made up their mind to start with the Project Chelsea? Listen, Mauricio Pochettino said, the philosophy, formations, style of play, whether you defend or dominate a game isn't important. But players need to feel you want the best for them. Explains why there is no system at Chelsea, there is no coaching. This statement that Pochettino gave out explains why everything is in a mess right now at Chelsea. And that is why we are asking the question, when did the Project Chelsea started or began? When? We want answers. We want answers. And let me remind you, you see, Chelsea's business model is not working. Chelsea's business model is not working. It's just like making their squad, it's making Chelsea's squad weaker. It doesn't make their squad stronger. The business model we have right now doesn't make the squad stronger. Right now, we are in the pipeline of selling Conor Gallagher and Chalobah with connections to the club, with connections to Chelsea. They are homegrown players, right? And replacing them with players from all over the world who have no idea what they are coming into, or where they are coming to, or what the legacy of the club is, the philosophy of the club is. We are selling the homegrown players for profit, yes. And then we are bringing in players from around the world who are coming in, who have no idea what it means to be a Chelsea player. They have no bond with the club. They have no lineage, no understanding of the club. That is the philosophy. That is the project, or the business model Chelsea is trying to build. Dear friend, a very good morning to you wherever you are. Before I let you go, right? For you to understand why I kept saying that the problems start from the up, not just the coach and not just the players. Look at this. At Anfield, last season, this season, last summer, at Anfield, their midfield was depleted. They decided to go into the market like Chelsea did. They bought McAllister. They bought McAllister for Brighton for £35 million. The same place we bought Casado for 150 million. They bought McAllister for £35 million. They brought in Zabozai for £60 million. They got Endo for 16 million, 1-6. And then they got Gravenberch for 34 million. 145 million spent to completely rebuild the midfield of Liverpool. 145 million spent to rebuild the midfield of Liverpool. Get that from me. Last summer, 145 million spent to rebuild the midfield of Liverpool last summer. Now we are approaching the end of the season. How much did Chelsea spend on our midfield? Both Enzo and Caicedo alone is over 200 million, my dear friend. And where we are on the league table, does it make sense? Enzo and Caicedo alone, they are over 200 million pounds. McAllister, Zabozai, Endo, Gravenberch, all four put together is 145 million pounds. But we have Enzo and Caicedo alone for over 200 million pounds. Dear friend, that is our current position. That is where we are right now. Now, look at the work rate of Caicedo in recent season. Is it the same Caicedo that you know whilst he was in Brighton? Especially in our last two games that we played. The last two games we played, Caicedo that we know at Brighton, is it the same Caicedo we are seeing right now in Chelsea? What is wrong? What is the problem? Listen, I'm asking these questions because my podcast this afternoon that you're going to be watching me, that podcast, right, is going to entail a lot. I don't want you to miss it. Most worrying was watching Fernandes and Caicedo lose their midfield battle with Sheffield United hammer, Ablaster and Osborne. It's very worrying that Enzo and Caicedo losing balls anyhow in that midfield against Sheffield United's hammer, Ablaster and Osborne. 200 million stars and England's Gallagher were outplayed. Outplayed technically, tactically, and physically. They were outplayed technically, they were outplayed tactically, and they were outplayed physically in that midfield. It's worrying that 200 million pounds plus players, plus England's Conor Gallagher, were outplayed technically, tactically, and physically in our game against Sheffield United. It's a shame. It is. We will have to sit back as a football club and analyze things. If it is our coach, we must get rid of him. If it is our recruitment directors, post Stanley and Co., we must get rid of them. If it is about the directors, we must get rid of them. The earlier the better. If it's about the owners, they must go. Chelsea can never lack new ownership. If you put Chelsea in the market today, people will apply to buy Chelsea back. And if it's about the players, as a matter of fact, I am suggesting that half of Chelsea's players must be sold out in the summer. Half must go. I'm tired, and most of us, we are tired of hearing the word, we are young players, we need time to grow, we are young. Dear friend, is Chelsea the only youngest team? I said it yesterday. Players like Cucurella, Enzo, Levi Colwill, Ben Chilwell, they were up in the Premier League. Even Caicedo, they all played in the Premier League last season. They are not new to the Premier League. I can count about 7, 8, 9 players. Conor Gallagher, of our first team players, first 11, that is always on a first team sheet, that played last season in the Premier League. Let me know if you think I'm lying. Dear friend, let me leave you here. I will come back with a podcast because it's very important that I do that podcast today. It is very, very important. We just need to accept the fact that the partnership between Enzo, Caicedo, and Gallagher is not working. The partnership between Enzo, Caicedo, and Conor Gallagher is not working. If we are playing the style of football we are playing to suit Gallagher, that is what I've foreseen. That's what I've seen, that we are playing a game to suit Conor Gallagher's style, to suit him in that midfield, that number 10 role. It's not working. We must change it. These few days we have to prepare for our next game against Everton. Something drastic needs to be done. Dear friend, I'll see you in the next one for the podcast when you see me. Shalom and peace.